Esselamu aleyküm ve rahmetullahi ve berekatühü. Euzu billahi mineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sevgili kardeşlerim, can dostlarım,
My dear brothers and sisters, friends of my life, friends of my heart, we thank and praise Allah Ta'ala countless times that one more time
günün sohbetinde
we are all together at another discourse from the heart.
maksat gönüller bir olsun.
The purpose is hearts to be together. My dear brothers and sisters,
Her şey gönlünüzce olsun.
may everything be as it is in your heart.
Unutmayınız ki Allah Teala sizlerden
Never forget,
bir şey ister.
Allah Ta'ala only wants
İnsan olmanız
one thing from you.
ile
Since you are a human being,
ister.
Allah wants your happiness.
İstediği tek şey budur.
That's the only thing that Allah wants.
Ve Allah Teala'nın bunu istemesine karşılık İblis ve onun avanesi de
Even though that's what Allah Ta'ala wants, Satan and his associates, they all want you to be unhappy.
sırlardan biri şeytanın gayretleri
All efforts of Satan for all these years came to a conclusion almost, and people have forgotten Allah.
insanların çoğu Allah ile ilişkili bir hüviyet içerisinde.
Majority of the people have nothing to do with Allah anymore.
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
Osmanlı'yı
how could you not remember the Ottomans?
her grup bir tarikatın mutlaka mensubuydu.
Every group were certainly a member of a tariqah.
Askerler Hacı Bektaş Veli'nin tarikatına mensuptu.
The military were from the tariqah of Hacı Bektaş Veli.
Saray mensupları ayrı bir hüviyetteydi.
Members of the palace belonged to a different tariqah.
Ülkenin Osmanlı Memleketi'nin her tarafında çeşitli tarikat grupları
Different groups of tariqah all over the properties of the empire. They were fulfilling the religion all the way.
tarikat kelimesiyle
The word tariqah
müessesesi
and the concept of happiness,
içindedirler.
they go hand in hand.
Zaman içerisinde böyle şeyler oluşmuş ki zamanımızda
Yet within time certain things took place. Today, when you take a look at the groups, there is no concept of pledge within these groups anymore. My dear brothers and sisters, if there is no pledge of allegiance, spirit can never leave the physical body.
ayrılmamışsa
If the spirit doesn't leave the
belki daha
physical body,
Allah'a o kişi dünya hayatını yaşarken
then
ruhunu
as the individual is still living the life of the world, spirit can never return back to Allah. That means not having hidayah whatsoever. As you know, religion of Islam is made out of 7 stages. 1. Making the wish to reach Allah. 2. Pledge of allegiance to a murshid, religious guide. 3.
Allah'a ulaşmak
Spirit to return back to Allah.
fizik vücudun Allah'a
4. Submission of physical body to Allah. 5. Submission of soul to Allah. 6. Becoming a muhlis one, pure one. And 7. Submitting free will to Allah.
sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
mutluluğun ayrı bir bölümü.
each one of these stages is a different part of happiness and joy. Yet, as soon as people make the wish to reach Allah, they start going through concept of joy and happiness.
Kendisine ulaştırana kadar
Till Allah Ta'ala delivers the spirit back to Himself. Within that time,
mutluluğu yaşar.
those people go through the highest level of happiness in the world. within 7 to 8 months,
kendisine.
Allah makes their spirits return back to Himself.
Zikri sevdirir.
Allah Ta'ala makes them love doing zikr.
Kur'an'ı sevdirir.
Allah makes them love Quran.
Mürşitlerini sevdirir.
Allah Ta'ala makes them love their murshid, their religious guide.
İmam içerisinde mutluluğu yaşar.
Those people go through happiness and joy as a group of people who are in love. My dear brothers and sisters,
Ulaşmayı dileme mevcut değilse,
if there is no concept of wishing to reach Allah,
mevcut değil.
then there is no concept of happiness either.
Hatırlayacaksınız ki Osmanlı
As you will remember,
bir ayrı tarikata mensup olduğu
Ottomans were
ülkeydi.
a very special country that everybody belonged to a different tariqa.
Tabi olmak için
In order to take a pledge of allegiance to a murshid, everybody would raise, and they will certainly fulfill that.
gösterince de mutluluk başlardı.
And as they fulfill that, their happiness and joy would have started.
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
Allah'a ulaşmayı dilemek
making the wish to reach Allah was the beginning of everything. That's a starting point, just a wish.
duyduğu anda
But as soon as Allah hears that wish,
işitir, bilir.
as Allah hears, sees, and knows at once,
İşitir, kişi sesli de söylese
Allah hears. Either the individual utters that loud or silent, Allah hears.
fısıltıyla da söylese
In other words, if the individual states that from the heart, whispers, or screams that wish, Allah Ta'ala certainly hears it.
hepsini bilir. Ve Allah Teala ister ki herkes en azından
And Allah Ta'ala wants at least everybody to render their spirit back to Allah. In regards to that, Allah Ta'ala says, whomever makes the wish to reach me, I deliver them to myself.
öyleyse insanlar için mutlu olmanın duvarlarını aşabilmek,
For people to reach happiness and joy and manage becoming an happy individual
fevkalade kolaydır.
is extremely easy.
Allah'a ruhunu ulaştırmayı dilerse
Whomever makes the wish to render the spirit back to Allah before death, Allah certainly fulfills His promise.
Kerem ifadesi
As Allah Ta'ala states, whomever wishes to reach me, I deliver them to myself. That clearly talks about a
Allah Teala
conclusion to us.
insanları en güzele ulaştırır.
Allah Ta'ala delivers everyone to the perfection.
Bir dilekte bulunması
For people to only make a wish is enough for Allah.
onlar sadece dileyecekler.
People will only make the wish,
Ben de ruh
saying that, Almighty Allah, I'm willing to render my spirit back to you before death as well.
kabul buyur.
Please accept my spirit. Make my spirit return back to you.
Allah Teala söz verdiği cihetle
Since Allah Ta'ala given a promise,
mutlak olarak
Allah will absolutely fulfill His promise.
böyle bir dizayn içinde sevgili kardeşlerim
That is the design of Allah, my dear brothers and sisters. And in such a design,
buna ulaşıncaya kadar geçen
the time until the spirit returns back to Allah, which is 7 to 8 months, that individual will go through the peak of happiness and joy.
çünkü
Why is that?
o noktada istediği şey
Because at that point what Allah wants is to make that individual happy.
bütün boyutlarıyla sağlar.
And Allah provides that all the way.
Ulaşan kişilerde bile
It is in a way that such happiness cannot take place even for those who reach continuous zikr.
karanlıktan aydınlığa geçişin
We can consider that as the difference going from darkness to light.
boyutlarıyla
As
devrede olduğu
the soul was totally dark 100% at the beginning,
negatif hüviyetini
and at that
yeni bir
point,
dünya
50% of glories accumulate in the soul's heart and take our soul's heart from darkness into glory. To be able to eliminate the remaining 50% darkness is only possible through continuous zikr. Someone to render the spirit back to Allah is actually not the effort of the individual. Since Allah Ta'ala says, whoever wishes to reach me, I deliver them to myself. Therefore, what we only need to do is to make the wish to render the spirit back to Allah as we are still living the life of this world. Allah Ta'ala hears, knows, and sees. Whomever makes such a wish, at that very moment Allah Ta'ala hears and makes his move immediately. Allah Ta'ala will give the love of murshid to that individual. The individual will perform necessity prayer, salatul haja, and ask a murshid from Allah. And Allah Ta'ala will assign a murshid who is appropriate for that very individual and make that individual find that murshid. It is always Allah who knows the best. Allah knows how our heart is and knows what kind of a murshid is necessary to purify our heart. Therefore, when the individual performs necessity prayer and asks a murshid from Allah, in his dream, Allah Ta'ala will show a murshid who is totally appropriate for that individual. And the individual needs to find that murshid and take a pledge of allegiance to him. My dear brothers and sisters, friends of my life, friends of my heart, we thank and praise Allah Ta'ala countless times.
Allah Ta'ala insanları çok seviyor.
Because Allah Ta'ala loves human beings so much and we are all human beings. If you pay attention, it is only human being as a creature of Allah that Allah created, that Allah blown a spirit into them. As Allah blown a spirit into Adam from his spirit, and as soon as it is blown in, spirit takes the shape of the physical form of the body of Adam. Adam and our mother Eve, who is created from his rib, made all generations today to exist. My dear brothers and sisters, when there were no human beings, Allah Ta'ala creates the very first human being and blows into him from his spirit. There is only one concept like spirit, and only the human beings have that spirit. Jinn also have a life like we do. As we have Rasuls amongst us, Jinn has Rasuls amongst them as well. Yet, Jinn don't have spirit in them. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, we are very beloved creatures of Allah as human beings. Is everything so wonderful, or is it only me feeling this way? Since you are created as a human being, you should be so happy, my dear brothers and sisters. You have the spirit that is blown into you by Allah, or you used to have it. Once you took a pledge of allegiance to your murshid, your spirit left your physical body, and it started to its journey to return back to Allah. Based on your zikr, it will go through 7 of the heavens,
açtığı grupla birlikte
along with the group that is traveling. It will go through 7 worlds of the 7th of the heavens. After fulfilling its zikr at the zikr cells, with a vertical journey from Sidratul Muntaha, it will get to Indi Ilahi.
rahatlıkla ifna olacak.
Then it will disappear in Allah.
İşte bu bir bütündür.
That is the entire concept.
Allah'tan gelmesi,
For spirit to come back from Allah, to live in us,
biz bunu gerçek sahibi olan Allah'a
and for us to render that back to Allah as its true owner.
olduğumuzu gösterir.
That shows that we are submitted to Allah.
7-8 aylık bir süreç içerisinde
Within 7 to 8 months of a time frame, Allah delivers the spirit back to Himself.
sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
ayda bir gök katı yükselme söz konusu olsa
if the spirit
sürer.
rises 1 heaven level a month, that journey takes place within 7 months.
Onun için mutluluk adı verilen müessese
The concept that is called happiness and joy for each individual,
açıktır.
that is wide open for every individual.
Tasavvufun yaşandığı o muhteşem devrelerden sonra
All those great times where tasawwuf was fulfilled all the way, for example, those magnificent victories of the Ottomans,
Allah'a olan yakınlık sebebiyle
they were all because of their closeness to Allah.
herkes Allah için yaşıyordu.
Everybody lived for Allah during the time of Ottomans.
Hatırlayacaksınız, hani size hep bir fıkrayı anlatırız.
As you will remember, I always tell you this story.
Birisi bir karar vermiş,
If somebody makes a decision
defter satan, defterde bulunan muhtevasında
and he goes to a grocery store,
bana bir
as they are carrying stationery with them, and tells him that I need a notebook.
niyeti
The purpose for purchasing that notebook is
Allah'ın velisi olan
to write the names of
o deftere
the saints of Allah.
kaydetmek. Sadece defterlerden birini beğeniyor. İşte diyor, şu defteri istiyorum.
He chooses the notebook that he likes.
Bakkallar satıyor o zaman defterleri de.
As the owner is giving him the notebook,
Zat dükkandan ayrılırken bakkal sesleniyor.
he tells
Yaz diyor.
the purchasing individual,
Yaz diyor.
write my name in that book as well.
Allah Allah diyor adam.
The individual who's purchasing the
Bu defteri
notebook, he says,
yazacağımı
how did he know that I'm going to be writing names in this?
kadarla
As
kaldı.
he didn't mention anything to anyone.
Kasabın önünden geçerken
Yet as he leaves the store, he goes through the butcher shop and the butcher comes out and he says, add me in that notebook.
önünden geçerken manav
As he is going through
de yaz diyor.
other shop, the owner of the shop also comes out and he says, write me in that notebook.
Bunlar da yan yana değil zaten.
None of these owners know exactly what the individual is up to in physical manner.
Allah'ın evliyaları Allah'tan alıyor
Yet the saints of Allah,
bilgiyi,
they get the knowledge from Allah directly.
besleniyorlar.
And that's why they are calling upon that individual. My dear brothers and sisters,
Dünya hakimiyeti bedava bir olay değil
the
de
conquest of the Ottomans around the world was not a free concept. They all belong to tasawwuf.
herkes Peygamber Efendimiz sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem'le sahabesi nasıl bir hayat yaşamışsa
they all fulfilled a life just like our Prophet ﷺ and his companions.
Aleyhisselam'a tabi olmayan onunla beraber olamaz.
Those who didn't take a pledge of allegiance to our Prophet ﷺ, they were not with him.
Başlamıştır.
As soon as they took a pledge of allegiance to him, tasawwuf started for them.
Mutlaka ayrılması
Because pledge of allegiance certainly makes spirit to leave the physical body.
ayrılan o ruh
And that spirit that leaves the physical body
gelecek olan,
will join the group of spirits
gelecek olan
that will go through 7 of the heavens, and at the 7th of the heavens that will go through 7 worlds.
böylece insanlar bütün güzellikleri
In regards to that, people will go through all beautiful notions.
devre hayatlarının
That 7 to 8 months of a term
devresi olacak.
will be the happiest of their life.
İşte bu güzel günler tasavvufa yeni giren herkes için
And those beautiful days are for everyone who are just stepping into world of tasawwuf, as they will go through that brilliant, magnificent life.
bir ortam hazırlar. O zaman o kişi de bizim söylediğimizi söyler.
Then the individual will state what I always state. Is everything so wonderful, or is it only me feeling this way?
Nasılsınız?
My dear brothers and sisters, how are you doing? Is everything so wonderful, or do you also feel that way too?
Allah Teala'nın dizaynı içerisinde
Within the design of Allah,
dünyada
living in a world that is based on love. Is that possible to fulfill that? Yes, indeed.
bekle
With one single wish, with the wish to reach Allah,
mutlu 7-8 aylık devresini yaşayabilirsin.
you can go through that happiest 7 to 8 months of your life.
Sahip değilsin.
You do not have the ability to pick your own murshid.
Kendinize göre
Based on your nature,
siz bilmezsiniz ama Allah
Allah will designate a murshid to you because you do not know.
böyle bir durumda
An individual
Allah'a
who is wishing to reach Allah, in other words, who is willing to become a saint of Allah,
gece saat
that individual
12'den
has to perform Salatul Hajj, necessity prayer after midnight.
olacak.
He will wake up, take total body ablution, and perform Salatul Hajj.
Allah'tan mürşidini isteyecek.
And will ask murshid from Allah.
Şartları görüyor musunuz sevgili kardeşlerim?
Do you realize the conditions, my dear brothers and sisters? Allah Ta'ala doesn't want anybody else to be involved.
Doğrudan Allah'tan
The
istiyor.
individual will perform necessity prayer and ask directly Allah to show that individual.
Gerçek anlamda ruhunu Allah'a ulaştırmayı dilemişse
If the individual truly made the wish to reach Allah, then Allah will certainly deliver that spirit back to himself.
Allah için olmak Allah'ın bir muhteşem dizaynıdır.
To be for Allah is a magnificent design of Allah.
Onun için olmak
To be for Allah
ruhunu Allah'a ulaştırmayı dilemekle başlayan bir vetiredir.
is a concept that starts with the wish to render the spirit back to Allah before death.
Sevgisi vermesini,
And that wish will bring
hacet
the
namazı
love of murshid, as Allah will put that love in the individual's heart.
Allah'a ulaşmayı dileyen kişiye
And the individual will perform necessity prayer, Salatul Hajj, and Allah Ta'ala will assign a murshid, show that murshid
bilemez.
that is suitable for the nature of that individual. The individual cannot know his or her
Hangi
nature,
benim için uygundur?
cannot know which murshid is suitable for him or her.
Ama Allah Teala ona en uygun mürşidi hacet namazını kılıp bu abdest
Yet,
alacak.
as the individual will perform necessity prayer after taking total body ablution, and Allah will show the most suitable murshid to that individual.
kişiye düşen ne? Bu noktadan sonra Allah'ın kendisi.
After that, what the individual needs to do is to find that murshid that Allah showed and to take a pledge of allegiance to him.
Yunus'u düşünün sevgili kardeşlerim.
Think about Yunus, my dear brothers and sisters.
Ne diyor? Taptuğun
As he says, at the gate of Taptuk, I became a slave.
Taptuk Emre onun mürşidi.
Taptuk Emre was his murshid.
Ve Yunus'un en ağır vazifeleri üstlendiğini görüyoruz.
And we realize that Yunus took the most important responsibilities as he cleaned every bathroom in his place.
Nerede insanların istemediği işler varsa
If people didn't want to do certain things, Yunus wanted to fulfill each and every one of them, and he did, took care of them all.
Allah için çalışan insan aslında tatbikatta başkaları için çalışan insandır.
Those who work for Allah are the ones who work for others. They are the ones who live for others, because they are the ones who dedicate their lives to the happiness of others. My dear brothers and sisters, friends of my life, friends of my heart, what would we lose if we do the right thing even to those who consider us as their enemy? Doesn't matter how harsh they are to us, if we do not retaliate and love them back, even though they consider us an enemy to them, and ask Allah's help for them, asking Allah to save them as well. What would we lose, my dear brothers and sisters? Nothing. Yet we would have gained so much. As you know, Allah always looks into your heart. What's in your heart? What is it that your heart states? Your tongue may utter anything and everything, as your tongue will design the words. But only the heart that Allah looks into. The heart loves those who love Allah, and the heart never makes a mistake. It always makes the right decision. It's right in the bullseye. My dear brothers and sisters, there are people, they always state nice things. But when you are talking to them, the people of the true heart will be bothered. They're the ones who try to look like something else, as they try to look like the friends of Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, yet friends of Allah love them as well. Even if they harm them, they keep loving them. My dear brothers and sisters, in this material world, the doors are wide open. Everybody deserves to be happy, yet everybody are unhappy. They are upset, they're nervous, they're stressful, they are uneasy. Behind that is only the vices of the soul. Whoever is angry, stressful, holding grudges against other people, if they are always angry to other people, that individual is only a pitiful individual.
tanımayan,
those who do not know Allah,
tanımayan,
those who do not know their murshid,
Resullerini tanımayan,
those who do not recognize the Rasuls of Allah, a pitiful individual.
hacet namazını kılsa
Yet, if they perform necessity prayer
Allah ona
and ask from Allah,
verecektir.
Allah will certainly give them the answer.
Şeytan onu gerçekleştirmemesi için,
Yet,
Allah'tan sormaması için
Satan will do anything and everything for people not to do that, for them not to ask directly from Allah.
Allah'ın bütün yakınlarına karşıdır.
Satan is always against those who are close to Allah. Satan never likes them
İnsanların kendisiyle beraber cehenneme gitmesine mani olanlardır.
because they're the ones who are preventing people to go to hell with Satan.
Allah'a ulaşmayı dileyin.
They tell people that make the wish to reach Allah.
Mutlaka
If you do wish,
Allah'ın cenneti
then
olur.
Allah's heaven will be yours. Let's say you died after wishing to reach Allah. You are entitled to first heaven. You will certainly make the first heaven. Yet,
Mürşit ihtiyacı duyar.
you still live. Then you will have the willing to find a murshid.
Dayanılmaz bir talep oluşur için.
You will have that great willing to find your own murshid.
Bu hacet namazını kılıp Allah'tan mürşit.
The way to that is to perform necessary prayer and ask a murshid from Allah. And you do that.
gösterir
And Allah certainly shows your murshid.
ve ona ulaştığınızda
And as you find him
huzurla,
with great joy and peace, you take a pledge of allegiance to him.
huzur vardır.
There is only peace and comfort in you when you're doing that.
Tabiyetiniz bize yeni bir dünya açar.
Your pledge of allegiance will open a new world before your eyes because you start cleansing of the soul's heart
Ve
as you do zikr saying Allah, Allah, Allah,
bazı ve salavat
rahmeh, fazl and salawat coming from Allah.
huzurlardan
They will fill your soul's heart.
fazıllar nefsin
Amongst these
başarılar,
glories, fazls, virtues will fill your soul's heart, and as long as you do zikr, they will keep pouring into your soul's heart.
başardığınız zaman
As soon as you fulfill first 7% of virtue accumulation in your soul's heart,
emmare kademesini aştınız demek.
that means you are through Emmare level.
Yedi nur
With the second 7% virtue accumulation, you are through Levame stage.
nur
Third 7% glory accumulation, you fulfilled Mulhime level.
emmare nefsin emrinde olan
Emmare is the soul that is commanding soul stage.
kendisini kınayan
Levame is the individual who is condemning his own soul as he is realizing his mistakes
yapmaya başlayan
and therefore condemning his own soul.
bir nefsi ifade eder.
As the individual knows the soul is causing him to make mistakes.
Hiçbir şekilde
As you know,
negatif bir hüviyette olmaz.
spirit can never be in a negative way in any aspect because that is the spirit of Allah.
Sonra mı ne olur? Sonra Allah'tan ilham almaya başlarsınız.
Then you start receiving inspirations from Allah. That is mulhime level.
Mürşidine tabiyetten sonra
During this time,
ayrılan ruhunu
your spirit that left your physical body after pledge of allegiance to your murshid at Emmare level, it gets to first of the heavens. Levame, it gets to second of the heavens. At mulhime, it gets to third of the heavens.
mutmainne kademesinde
At mutmainne level, the individual
mutmain olmuştur, doyuma ulaşmıştır.
is at satisfaction point,
Dördüncü gök katına yükselir.
and the spirit is at the fourth of the heavens.
Sonra Allah'tan razı olur.
Then the individual will be pleased with Allah, that is nefsi radiye.
Nefs demek.
Radiye means soul that is in consent
Mardiye
with Allah.
kişi
Then the individual will be at mardiya level,
razı olduğu
where Allah is also pleased with that individual.
sonra teskiye kademesi gelecektir.
Then will come teskiye level,
Başlangıçta
purification level.
rahmet nuru birikmişti.
There was 2% mercy at the beginning accumulated in the soul's heart.
İki ruhu Allah Teala
Before pledge of allegiance to a murshid, Allah certainly sends 2% mercy in the soul's heart of the individual. then 7 times 7% virtues will accumulate.
puzzle nurudur.
These are all virtues, puzzles.
Kalbimize giren başlangıç noktasındaki %2
Along with 2% mercy accumulation took place at the beginning, the glory accumulation will be 51% altogether.
karanlıkları yendiği
This is where the glories are overcoming the darknesses.
%49
51% glories,
afet.
only 49% darkness.
Sonra zikrinizi arttıracaksınız.
Then you will increase your zikr,
Ve nefsinizin kalbi çok daha fazla
and your soul's heart will have even more glories with increasing zikr.
fizik vücudunuzu teslim edeceksiniz.
Through that you will submit your physical body to Allah.
Sonra bu fizik vücudunuzu teslim etmeniz %80'e varan bir
Submission of physical body
daha sonra da
means 80% glory accumulation. Then you will get to continuous zikr. Your soul's heart will be filled with 100% glories.
bu noktada nefsinizin kalbinin Allah'ın nurlarıyla dolduğu bir güzelliği
At this point, glories of Allah will be filling your soul's heart inside out.
Allah Teala'nın istikametinde yeni başarılar elde edeceksiniz.
Then you will be going through other stages after that. You will become a muhlis one.
Ve daha sonra salihlerden birisi olacaksınız.
Then later on you will become one of the salih ones.
İşte ulaşacağınız son nokta burasıdır.
That is the last point you will get to.
7. kat cenneti ifade eder.
Salah post refers to seventh heaven, and that is the highest point for your happiness and joy as well.
Kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
insanlar için bütün kapılar açık.
all doors are wide open for every individual. Allah Ta'ala is waiting for you, saying that make the wish to reach me and start your spiritual life and go through happiness and joy.
Bunun için şeytanın uşağılasını
I did not create you for your unhappiness or for your slavery to Satan. I created you to become happy and to become someone in my command.
nefsinizin kalbine bu nurları yerleştirmek üzere harekete geçtiniz.
And as soon as you make the wish to reach Allah, you made your move to place all glories of Allah into your soul's heart. My dear brothers and sisters,
Böylece insan salihlerden birisi olur.
at the end the individual becomes one of the salih ones, being the owner of Salah post.
İrşad makamının sahibi olması demek.
That means the individual gets appointed to Irshad post.
Bütün insanlar için Allah Teala kapıları hazırlamıştır.
As Allah Ta'ala keeps the doors open for every individual,
Etmek ister.
Allah wants all people to be happy and joyous.
Allah Teala'dan
As I request Allah to make each and every one of you happy,
bir ömür boyu da
and throughout my life, that's what we will be asking.
bize
Asking Allah Ta'ala to grant upon you infinite happiness. Asking that from the Almighty, I finish my discourse at this point.
Allah
May Allah bless you all.
Esselamu Aleyküm ve Rahmetullahi ve Berekatuhu.